Hello everybody, it's Tarun. Welcome to your 9th tutorial in basic Python course. In this tutorial I'll be teaching you about conditionals, which include every type of conditional statements which are there in Python, and it also includes if-else statements of every kind. Okay, so before starting with the if-else statements, I want to give you some revision of conditional statements. Okay, so there are some type of conditional statements which are there. So some which first of them is Boolean expressions. Okay, so which I have told you earlier in the second tutorial, first or second tutorial. Okay, these include equal to, not equals to, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to. Okay, so if I check that and true and false, okay, true and false. Okay, so let me show you that their type. Okay, you can see that true is Boolean type expression. Okay, so I want to tell you once again that keep in mind that double equals sign, okay, consecutive to equal sign are equals operator, and single equal sign is assignment operator. So other operator which I want to remind you is logical operator. There are three logical operators: and, or, and not. Okay, the meaning of these operators is similar to their meaning in English. For example, let's say x greater than 0 and x less than 10. Okay, so it is true only when this condition and this condition both are true. Okay, and in or, if I use or is in place of and, so it will check whether this condition is true or this condition is true. If one of them is true, the condition will execute. Okay, and finally the not operator negates a Boolean operation. So let's say how it works. Not x greater than y. Okay, it is true if x greater than y is false. It means when x is less than y, this statement will be true. Let me show you with an example. This, say x equal to 4, y equal to 6. You can see that where x is greater than y is false and the negation of this is true. Okay, so now let's move forward to the topic which you all have been waiting, is if-else statements. So first, there are four type of if-else statements, okay, according to their execution. First one is conditional execution. Okay, well, you all know that in order to write useful programs, we almost always need the ability to check conditions and change the behavior of the program accordingly. So conditional statements give us that ability. So the simplest form which comes under conditional execution is if statement. Okay, so what is the syntax? Let me show you. Let me show you it in a file. Okay, let's take input first from the user. If x is greater than 0. Okay, so you might be thinking that what I have done in this program. So first I have taken a variable x and taken an input from the user. Okay, I have used integer over here because when you use input function, as I told you earlier, it takes the input from the user and converts it to a string. But we are checking that if x is greater than 0, which is an integer condition. So I have converted it to integer already. So this is the syntax: type in if statement and then the condition, and then at the end of condition colon, and then press enter. When you use colon and then press enter, you will be indented automatically in the ideally. But if you are using Python in any other software, you might not get indented. So keep in mind that if you are writing any conditional statement, okay, or a loop, okay, there are two parts in any conditional statement or loop, which is first is conditional header line, and second part which is below that is body. So the body is always indented from the header line. So this is how it is done. So let's save this. Okay, let me run it. Okay, enter number. If I enter 5, you can see that it checked the condition whether x is greater than 0. It is true and x is positive. Okay, so how did it work? This is how it worked. First, you check the condition that whether x is greater than 0 or not. If it is yes, it goes to the statement in the body, print x is positive. If it is no, then it skips the statement in the body and executes and move on. Okay, so if statements have the same structure as function definition or and loops, okay, and the statements, like if statements are called compound statements because they stretch across more than one line, as you can see in the program. Okay, so this was our program. You can see that this is the statement. If it started here and it ended here, it goes in from more than one line. Okay, there is no limit on the number of statements that can appear in the body, but there has to be at least one. So occasionally it is useful to have a body with no statements. Okay, in that case you can use the pass statement, which does nothing. Okay, so this is useful when there is something you want to code but you are not ready to write it yet. Okay, so you create a statement and you will leave it with a pass statement. Say this is how you leave it with pass, and afterwards when you are ready you will write the code inside it. So let me run it. Okay, if I enter any number, it does not show any output. Okay, so the another thing in this type of conditional execution is that if you type the if statement or a compound statement in the interpreter cell. So this is how you can do: if x is greater than 0 colon, okay, and when you press enter, it indents itself. Okay, and so you can see that it is printed x is positive. So this is useful when you want to check some if statement in the interpreter, but it is not useful when you are writing a long program. in the long program you need to make a script file and then run it in the interpreter. Okay, so the second type of execution which is there in if else statement is alternative execution. Okay, so in this type of execution there are two possibilities within the statement. Okay, so this is how you can write it. Okay, if x is greater than 0, it prints out x is positive. But what if x is not greater than 0? Then you use another statement called else. Okay, you type else, then again colon, then press enter, and you type in the body according to your will. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so enter a number. If I enter -1, okay, so what will it show? Okay, it shows x is negative because it executes the else statement. This is how it was done. Okay, so this is another example which I am telling you from the positive negative. This is a example from which we are checking that whether a given number is even or odd. So if I enter any integer value and then I take the modulus of that number, if it is 0, then it means it is an even number, then it goes to yes and prints x is even. But what if x modulus 2 is not equals to 0? Then it goes to no and prints out x is odd. Okay, and since the conditions must be true or false only, okay, exactly one of the alternatives will be executed. These alternatives are called branches because they are branches in the flow of execution. The third type of execution in the if else statements is chained conditional execution. Okay, it is used when there are more than 3 possibilities available. Okay, so the one way to express that is chained conditionals. So let me show you with an example. So let's okay, these are two statements. First I check x less than y. Okay, if x is less than y, I print okay. The change in alternate execution and change conditionals is that there are more than 2 possibilities, so we use else if, and its abbreviation is elif. Okay, and after elif you type the condition again. Okay, and now if it checks whether x is greater than y and it types x is okay, and the third statement which is there is else. Okay, so this is how you do it. So let me go ahead and run it. Okay, if I enter a number, let's say 4 and another is 8, so you can see that this was x and this was y. Okay, this was y, this was x, and x is less than y, and it prints out that. Okay, so there is no limit on the number of elif statements. Okay, if there is an else clause, it has to be at the end, but there doesn't have to be one. Okay, so what I'm saying is that instead of this else, I could have used elif. okay, x equal to y. So let's run it. Let's say 5. Sorry. Okay, and another one is also 5. So you can see that x is equal to 5. Okay, each condition is checked in order. If the first is false, the next is checked, and so on. Okay, if one of them is true, the corresponding branch executes and the statement ends. Even if more than one condition is true, only the first true branch executes. So the last type of conditional statements in this if else statements is nested conditionals. Okay, so one conditional can also be nested within another. Okay, so this example which I have told you, it could have also been written in this way also. If x equals y, okay, and so let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so now you can see that the indentation is very much important in Python. Okay, because in if you know C programming, then you might be knowing that we use curly braces whenever we start any statement or a loop. But in Python, it is not there to use curly braces. We use only indentation. So if there was wrong indentation, so it showed an error. So I have now corrected it. So let's go ahead and run it. So if I enter 4 again and then 8, so you can see that x is less than y. Okay. In this statement, okay, the outer conditional contains two branches. The first branch contains a simple statement and the second branch contains another if statement inside it which has two branches of its own. Okay. Those two branches are both simple statements, although they could have been conditional statements as well. So what it did, it took two values and checked them whether they are equal or not. If they are equal, then it goes to this path yes and print out equal. So what if they are not equal? Then it goes to the else statement, and inside else there are two statements. Okay. If x is less than y, if x is less than y, yes, it prints less. Okay, or x is less than y. If it is not true, then it goes to no and prints x is greater than y. Okay. Although the indentation of the statement makes the structure apparent or difficult to understand, okay, but in general it is good idea to avoid these conditions. Okay. So logical operators provide a way to simplify nested conditional statements. For example, let me show you. If 0 is less than x and if x is less than 10, print x is single digit positive number. Okay, so let's run it. So I have entered 5. It is showing X as a single digit positive number. Okay, this is an example of nested statements, but I could have done it with the help of logical statements like this. Okay, it checks both the condition in one statement. Okay, so let's run it. Now also you can see that it is showing you the same output. Okay, the last thing which I want to teach you in this tutorial is catching exceptions using try and except. Okay, earlier we saw code statement where we used input and integer function to read and parse an integer number entered by the user. So let me show you this with an example. Okay, what I'm trying to say. So this was the program. So if I take it to this, okay, so we just wait. Okay, let me show you this with an example of temperature conversion program. In this program we are converting Fahrenheit temperature to a Celsius. So this is our input. Okay, so F is equal to, or say input equal to F. And Celsius temperature equal to F minus 32 and multiplied by 5.0 divided by 9.0. Okay, you must be knowing the formula for temperature conversion, and then I print C. Okay, so let's run it. Let's say 32 only. Okay, so the 32 degree Fahrenheit is 0 degree in Celsius. Or let me show you another example. Okay, you can see that 5 degree Fahrenheit is minus 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, but what if I entered a string as an input here? Okay, I have specified enter a number. Okay, but what we need, what if I type any string? Okay, then it shows value error, could not convert string to float. Okay, so how to get rid of this problem? There is a conditional execution structure built into Python to handle these type of errors. Okay, so this is called try and except structure. Okay, the idea of try and except is that you know that some of the instructions may have a problem and you want to add some statements to be executed if an error occurs. Okay, these extra statements are ignored if there is no error. Okay, so you can think of try and except feature in Python as an insurance policy on a sequence of statements. So how you can use it? So let's go back to the program, and after I have taken the input, I type try, okay, and then colon, and let me indent it. Okay, so it works just like if else, try except, and then Okay. So what will it do? Okay. When I give any input, it will first run the try statement, and if there is any problem or error in the try statement, then it will go to the except statement and print out this statement. So if there is no error in this try statement, it will ignore the except statement and just show us the output of the try statement. So let me show you how this will work. Okay, enter Fahrenheit temperature. If I enter 5, it will show you without any error. Okay, so let me run it again. So if I enter now any string, okay, so just wait, sorry. Okay, so there was certain error in the program earlier. To check the try and accept, I have rewritten the program in this manner. I have taken the input first, okay, it is a string. If I go into the try statement, then I convert it into float, okay, then converting in the float in the input statement only. So let's run it. Okay, if I enter this string, so you can see that it does not take this string as an correct input and does not go to try statement, and instead it goes to the accept statement and tells you that you need to enter a number. Okay, so this was all from my side in this tutorial. Okay, in the next tutorial we will be learning loops. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.